I don't know what kind of plants these are. It's some sort of ground cover or really short shrub that we have at Oklahoma State University, and they use it on the central gardens of campus. There's this really nice big old gardens right by the library and the student union, and my coworker and I were out for a really short walk one Friday afternoon, and we came across some geese. I took some photos. Some of these things you see here, I took some pictures. I never know what we're going to see, and that's why I try and always have my camera with me. Well, as we were walking past, it was really overcast. Like it was probably 2 p.m. and you couldn't see any sun. It was just a huge overcast sky. So the lighting was awesome for this type of photo. And honestly, I didn't really intend on taking a photo of the plants. It didn't seem that interesting, but I noticed that they all had these big water droplets on them from, I think it rained the previous night. And so they all had these little tiny pools of water, and I thought that would be a really cool picture. So I got in low and kind of focused, not on this one here, but on a separate clump. I focused on one of the bigger droplets that I saw collecting in a leaf and took some cool pictures. Well, some okay pictures. I don't want to sound like all conceited or anything. They were okay. They weren't that great. And they were kind of derivative. I had taken similar pictures before, but everything is, even if you have done a similar picture before, every picture you take is a new chance to learn something. So it never hurts to kind of recreate what you've done, but it also is good to kind of branch out. And then I thought about a picture that I took. I don't actually think I posted it on Weekly 50. You can click through to my Flickr if you click this picture, and maybe it's on there, but I was walking past a pond on a different picture, and I pointed my camera straight down and took a shot of some leaves in the pond, and it looked really cool. So I tried that same thing here. I stood above this plant and shot straight down. I was at f2.8. I probably should have stopped down a little bit to f4 maybe to get a broader depth of field. You can see there's like a leaf right in the middle of the picture. It's kind of out of focus because it's sticking up, and I'm not a huge fan of that. I think it adds a little bit of depth to the photo to have the leaves in the background slightly blurry, but I don't know. All things considered, I kind of wish the whole thing was nice and sharp, but as it is, it was nice. The way it turned out was okay. But one of the points that I think this picture illustrates is the benefit of shooting in RAW, and I've discussed that from time to time here, specifically with a fairly recent picture that I took with my D750. I shot this with my D7100, by the way, and my D200 that I talk about so much is more or less gathering dust these days. If it still worked fine from a mechanical standpoint, I would use it more, but it really doesn't because every fourth or fifth shot, it doesn't close the aperture at the lens, so I can't rely on the thing. Otherwise, I probably would still use it. But anyway, I shot this in RAW, and you can see the original picture on the blog, and the colors were just dull and kind of muted. And you might say, yeah, well, that's how it was in real life. But one of the nice things about RAW is you can adjust the data in the photo to kind of get your interpretation of what you saw. This here is kind of what I had in my mind as I took the picture. And I also like that it kind of draws your eye to the top left quadrant where there's some large water drops sitting on a red leaf. I thought that was pretty cool. And in the original RAW file, you don't even notice those at first. You kind of have to look for them, and it's just not that great. So if you're the kind of person who shoots in RAW, you might also get some benefit out of processing those RAW files. I know some people who shoot in RAW and then just never do anything with them. Shooting in RAW, it doesn't inherently give you a better image. It gives you more data to work with if you want to create a better image, but it's up to you to actually do that in Lightroom or Photoshop or GIMP or one of these other programs. And if not, if you don't want to mess with all that, just shoot in JPEG and let your camera tweak it. I don't think it would have turned out quite this good if I let the camera tweak the settings and I shot in JPEG, which is why I shoot in RAW. Incidentally, I shoot 12-bit compressed, lossy compressed RAW, and yet I've never really had an issue with the lostness of the compression. What you're looking at here is a edited 12-bit lossy compressed RAW file, and it looks fine to me. This is kind of off on a tangent, though. I hope you like the picture, and if you, I know it's middle of February and it's probably cold and rainy and maybe snowy where you are, but get out there, grab that camera and see if you can find some interesting picture opportunities despite the weather.